Welcome back. We're going to be doing our NBA trade rumors. So we're going to be taking 6 players and we're going to be seeing which teams that they could go to and putting a trade together that would make sense or make the most sense for that player. So let's just get right into it. Um, First off, we have Kyrie Irving, and he's been rumored heavily to the Knicks and the Clippers. So let's try out a trade. How do you feel about the Kyrie Irving rumors?
Um, I feel like it's exciting. Always getting during the off season, we can see free agents, trades. It's always cool, but also sad to see some players leave teams, but join to see another. Only because the potential ring chasing. With Kyrie, it's a great situation because he's such a great player. And he's been on multiple teams like the Cavs, the Celtics, and now the Nets. See him on another team. It'd be weird to see him in a Lakers or a Clippers or a Knicks jersey. Personally, I'd like to see him in a Knicks jersey or a Lakers jersey. Those two teams go hand to hand with me. But I feel like the Knicks probably have the best option to get Kyrie here.
I think the Knicks are the most realistic team if we're talking about Kyrie Irving going somewhere. But you never know; it could happen anywhere. So let's put a trade
Yeah.
together that we can make sense. So Kyrie Irving kind of has a hefty contract, so we have to make this work. So he's got close to 37 mil. Let's just say 37 mil, and he has a player option. So this would have to be a sign and trade with Kyrie. So let's. I want to put Derrick Rose on the Nets. I want to say pick 11. You cool with this so far? Um,
So far, I'm just thinking if the Nets would actually take, I could see them taking the round one pick. I
yeah.
don't see them taking Derrick Rose in this situation here.
Well, I mean, first, there's a big contract. They would need to make it work. They also need a point guard. So, um, uh, we could do somebody like Evan Fournier.
Evan Fournier works. Same probably goes for
I want to
Alec
do a
Burks.
young player. Like I want to do a Cam Reddish or Obi.
I think they still might have a chase if they able to keep Cam Reddish. So I'd want to say get Toby out.
Yeah, I think they like Obi a lot though, and I don't know about Cam, but I feel like Obi is. I think the Nets would probably rather have Obi. And I think the Knicks really want Kyrie, so I think they're gonna do that. Let's see.
Right.
Let's just see if these contracts work so far. Okay, so this would go through. Do you think both teams would accept this?
I think they could take this. If Nets really wanted to, I feel like they could probably push to get a little more
Let's
out for
just
Kyrie.
let's just throw in the second round pick just to add a little bit more value. So
I'll be right back.
is this our final trade? Um,
Uh, yes, I believe so.
so Kyrie Irving for Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin in the 11th pick. They get a nice young player in Obi. They get a solid replacement with Derrick Rose. They'll get a good shooter in Evan Fournier, and 11th pick and the 42nd pick. If they don't do something, I think Kyrie Irving could just decline his player option and go somewhere else, anyways. So, I think they got to do something. So, I think the Nets will just take what they can get, and this is a pretty good offer, to be honest. So, um, I think I'm doing this if I'm both teams. All right. So the next team, Kyrie Irving was rumored to the Lakers, but he was also rumored to the Clippers. I think the Lakers are just super unrealistic. So we're gonna go with the Clippers here, and let's see what kind of trade could go down here. You probably have to put in Norman Powell to make it work contractually. They would want some assets. You don't really have much draft capital, but you can take this one. The next year's pick, which would probably get swapped um, with the OKC pick, I think it would be swap worst pick. So I think it would just end up being the Clippers pick anyways. So Norman Powell, second pick this year, and the first round pick next year. I think you'd have to throw in like another big contract like a Marcus Morris. And let's see where we're at contractually. Okay, okay. Yeah, we're at a good spot contractually, but I think we needed some more assets. So, um, so in a far future first, and another young player like a Brandon Boston, he's got some potential. So I think they would want him, and I think they would want somebody like, they could potentially want somebody like Amir Coffey or Terrence Mann. So they could just accept Terrence Mann's team option and just trade him away, which I think could happen. So,
I am back.
what do you think about this trade?
For looking into this 2 round one picks, a round two pick, for Kyrie, and then the Clippers give up Marcus Morris, Norman Powell, Terrence Mann. Um, I could see this working. I don't know if Clippers would want to give this much up for Kyrie, but having if they really think about the trio of Kawhi, PG, and Kyrie, I feel like this could work out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you could probably like say that they take Terrence Mann out or take Brandon Boston out, um, but you have to the Knicks I feel like are a better and a more realistic option for Kyrie. So if you're the Clippers, you probably want to give up a little bit more than the Knicks, so that you would have a better chance of getting Kyrie over the Knicks. So Kyrie Irving's a top 15 player right now, probably higher than that. So you're gonna want to get up a lot, so he would choose to go to your team. But I feel like the Knicks is more realistic, but the Clippers, could also make it work. They have some good contracts that they could throw at the Nets and some solid young pieces and some first round picks. So uh, I see the Clippers as semi realistic, and I think it could happen.
For sure, it could totally work out.
All right, let's move on to our next player here. We want to go with Malcolm Brogdon. I think Malcolm Brogdon's for sure getting traded, um, but I don't know where yet. Let's think about the Portland Trailblazers. They could use a defensive player. Take some of the ball handling opportunities away from Dame, so it wouldn't put as much stress on Damian Lillard, and have some more defensive styles. Joe Ingles is gonna leave in
I
free
feel like they could
agency.
get yeah, out of here. They could probably give up Josh Hart as one.
Yeah, I actually don't think the Pacers would want Josh Hart because he is already 27 and he doesn't really fit the timeline of the rebuild. So I think a more realistic player to get rid of is Nasir Little. He can play the small forward position, especially with T.J. Warren leaving a free agency. So let's just have T.J. Warren. Um, I don't know if you can cut him on this, but T.J. Warren would end up leaving, and Joe Ingles would end up leaving. So those are two solid contracts that wouldn't matter in this scenario. Um, oh, here you have
Mm,
Caleb Swanigan. He actually just passed away earlier today, so that's really sad.
yeah,
He was a good player. He was a solid role player, and he was a beast in college too. It's just really unfortunate that he couldn't keep his weight together, and it got too out of control, and it took his life, which is very very unfortunate, especially because he was so young. He was only 25 years old. Um, it's super sad to see, but um, I think another player that could go, the Pacers just want young players, so I think they could go, with a Keon Johnson. And do you want to see if you want to throw in a third team here?
Potential third team. Who could even join this?
I don't know, but I feel like a third team, they would want to get rid of Buddy Hield. Um, so a third team could be like a. I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers could want a shooter like Buddy.
They could give up something like that. They have a lot of young talent in Cavs.
Yeah, I like Buddy as a fit on the Cavs, so they could give
I feel
give
like they
something
could.
away. I
Um,
feel like he wouldn't be expensive at all. They could give up like
right.
pick 39 and pick 58. That's two second rounders. And I feel like the Pacers just want to get rid of him. So I feel like the 2 seconds for that is kind of enough. Let's try this real quick. Yeah, so
Fail.
they need to make up some money. So you could do a sign and trade with Colin Sexton.
I feel like somehow, some way they could give. Oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, that would work. I feel like the Trailblazers would need to give up a little bit more though. Not pick 7, but maybe pick 36. It's a high second rounder. Pacers would have a lot of second round picks. They would have 4. They would have 5. They would have 31, 36, 39, 58, and 60. So they would have a lot of chances in the second round to hopefully get a stud. And I let's see if this works contractually, and it does. Trailblazers get Malcolm Brogdon, give up Nas Little, Keon Johnson, and pick 36. Cavs get Buddy Hield, give up pick 39, 58, and they might lose Colin Sexton anyway, so might as well get somebody like Buddy Hield out of it. And
Look, this shit works out really well, actually.
yeah, I think this is a good little sign and trade with Colin Sexton. Gets rid of Malcolm Brogdon. Um, you have Colin Sexton to play alongside Tyrese Halliburton. So I like this a lot. I think this fits.
Yeah, I like it. It seems good.
Yeah. So let's see what other team Malcolm Brogdon can go to. I see somewhere like, the Wizards. They might want to play Malcolm at point guard alongside Bradley Beal. I think I don't really know if Bradley Beal's leaving or not. It's rumored that he's gonna stay. But let's see what we can get done here. They just want to get some good players. Uh, good young players. If you're the Pacers, you want future assets. So I think you give up Rui or Denny, or maybe Corey Kispert, because you're kind of clogged in that forward position.
Right.
You have Kuzma, Kristaps, Rui, Denny, Kispert. That's about it. Yeah, that's about it for their forwards. But that's like a lot of talent that's clogged up, and I think they could get rid of somebody like a Corey Kispert, or they could give up like pick 56 and a future first like in 2025, say top 5 protected. Because the Wizards are never a for sure thing if they're going to be good or not. So they want to have a little protection on there. But Corey Kispert, a first and a second for Malcolm Brogdon. I feel like their main goal isn't really to get a ton of assets, but just to get rid of that contract and get some more opportunities for some guards. They probably still want to move Buddy Hield. I wouldn't include him in this. We don't really need to add a third team this time, but TJ Warren's going to get traded. Let's check this out. All right, so the Wizards need to cut
Failed.
some money.
Mm.
Um, let's just. All right, that works.
Okay.
Ian Mahimi isn't even on the team anymore, so I don't really know what's up with that. Maybe they're still paying him a little bit of money, but it's I don't know what's up with that, but Ian Mahimi isn't on a team, so it's not like they're actually paying him that money. So really, this would be Corey Kispert for Corey Kispert a first and pick 56 for Malcolm Brogdon. It frees up a lot of money for the Pacers, and you get a nice young shooter. I actually like Corey Kispert a lot, and a future first that could potentially be a solid pick for you in the future. So I like this. What do you think?
This could work out really well. Yeah, as I said, we have a lot of potential out of Clark Kispert. You get two good, decent picks. You get another. Well, you don't have him, but Malcolm Brogdon moving down to the Pacers could moving down the Pacers, moving down to the Wizards could work out really well for them.
Yeah, I like the fit of Malcolm Brogdon alongside Bradley Beal. He had some defense and playmaking. It takes a lot of stress off of Bradley Beal. That's kind of what Malcolm Brogdon will do. He'll handle the rock. He'll play some good defense. He'll make some plays for you. So I think he's very good at handling the ball and taking stress off of your star player. So let's move on to our third guy. Next, we have John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks, and it's been rumored that the Kings are a team that is interested in John Collins. So let's see what we can get done here. I'm a Hawks fan, actually, so I've kind of toyed around with this a little bit, and I've already kind of figured out something that involves the fourth overall pick. So obviously, I think John Collins isn't worth the fourth overall pick. I would think the Hawks would actually have to give up a little bit more. So I think they can give up you'd have pick 16, and they would have to give up Dante DiVincenzo to make the cap work. Or maybe a Jeremy Lamb who's not as big as an asset for the Kings. So you would pretty much Jeremy Lamb doesn't really play a lot anymore. He's not very good anymore. So you'd pretty much be getting pick 16 and using John Collins to trade up to pick 4, and I actually like this. I think the Hawks could get somebody like a Shaedon Sharpe at pick 4, or hope that Paulo Banchero falls one more spot, which I don't think he does, but it's only one spot. And then
Definitely possibility.
yeah, anything happens. We saw Jalen Suggs fall to 5, and we saw Scotty go up to 4, which nobody thought was going to happen. Everybody thought Jalen Suggs was for sure going 4, and Scotty was going to fall. But Scotty ended up going 4, which surprised everybody, but it turned out to be by far the best move. I mean, they are super happy that they made that risk with Scotty, because he won Rookie of the Year and he has such a bright future in the NBA. But anything. So that means really anything could happen. So, I like this. You give up Jeremy Lamb, who's he's a free agent, so it'd be like a little sign and trade. Probably won't get too much playing time on the Hawks. He wouldn't get too much playing time on the Kings anyways. So all in all, you're pretty much using John Collins and pick 16 to trade up to pick 4, which I think could work because John Collins is a really nice player, and I think he'd fit, with Sabonis and fit with De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, this works out pretty well in my opinion. Yeah.
So that's just the one trade. Another team that John Collins could end up going to is the San Antonio Spurs. And the Spurs have had a lot of people, like a lot of big men, like John Collins or DeAndre Ayton, rumored to them. So let's kind of see, what could happen. I think you could give up pick 9 and, pick 16. Again, kind of like the King situation, you could use pick 16 to trade up to 9, but I feel like the Spurs would have to give up something else because I feel like they're getting a lot in return. So I feel like they could give up somebody like I like Keldon Johnson to the Hawks. He's a really good shooter, small forward shooter. So I like that. Maybe I don't think it would work contractually. Maybe it would actually. The Spurs don't really have a bunch of big contracts on the books. So what do you think about this trade?
Um, well, I don't really know how if I feel too much about it. I feel like it's a little I don't think it works out too well for Spurs, but it does at the same time. I feel like they'd rather want to keep that good round one pick instead of going 5 spots under. But at the same time, I feel like it's also worth it because you still receive John Collins in return, but you're still taking a hefty money amount of contract exchange.
I feel
In
like
real life,
23 million a year for John Collins is just a perfect amount. He's on a solid contract that fits him well. He's very versatile. He's a good stretch four. He's crazy bounce, good shot blocker, good rebounder. He could really do it all out there for you, and play solid defense, play solid offense, good pick and roll, good shooter. He really does it all. So I think moving down 7 spots and giving up Keldon Johnson, I think it's just totally worth it for the Spurs.
I see it working. I see it working.
And
I like it.
you would still have pick 16 after this trade too. So
Yeah,
I both John Collins trades ended up having pick 16 being packaged and moving up. So I don't know. I could see the Hawks wanting to move up in the draft. I like that Kings trade a little more. The Hawks could get somebody like Shaden Sharp or Jaden Ivey, um, or maybe like Ken Murray. I forgot his first name. Yeah, that's really sad. Um, but or Keegan Murray, that's his name. But yeah, they could get somebody like that to replace John Collins, um, or Shaden Sharp or Jaden Ivey. But there's a lot of things they could do with that fourth overall pick or the ninth overall pick if that's ends up happening. So let's move on to our next guy here. We have Jeremy Grant. And how possible do you think it is for Jeremy Grant to get traded?
I don't see it. I can't see it happening only because I know Pistons want to give Cade some help here, and he's slowly starting to get it. But if they were, I feel like they can get some good asset out of it.
Yeah, a team that's been rumored is the Hawks had interest, um, who we were just on. I don't think it would be including John Collins, because I feel like if the Hawks gave up John Collins, then there wouldn't be enough to get back. So you could say like Jeremy Grant, he could play small forward position for you, and you could give up pick 16. I feel like Jeremy Grant wouldn't take a whole ton to get a hold of. Like Jalen Johnson and pick 16. Not really much more. Maybe like Sharif Cooper, who has potential. So I actually like this trade. Let's see if I don't think it goes through contractually. No, you need 15 mil. So let's actually cut Sharif and let's throw in DeLon Wright, and then you could throw in pick 44. Yep, that works. What do you think about this?
It works out, to be honest. I could see it definitely happening. I don't know if Hawks will take that, but I feel like they definitely do.
Yeah, I'm a Hawks fan, so looking at this, that's a lot to give up. A nice young player in Jalen Johnson, a nice defensive guard, and the 16th overall pick. I really don't think it would take that much, um, but Jeremy Grant really does fit really well with the Hawks. Um, you got that nice defense, nice scoring. I think he fits super well alongside Trae Young. Um, so I I could see a trade going down similar to this, like involving the 16th pick or involving Jalen Johnson, but I'm not sure it really takes this much. Moving on to the Jazz. Um, I haven't seen rumors, but I just really like this fit. What do you think could happen with the Jazz?
I feel like the potentially, if anything, I feel like Pistons would possibly want to stack on a little more here. if they want to get rid of Jeremy Grant due to the fact that Jazz has a lot they could give up. That's pretty good. Pretty good talent.
Yeah, I think that he would fit pretty well. You could end up trading Rudy Gobert afterwards, uh, for like a Nikola Vucevic. You could have a Bulls trade with Rudy Gobert on top of the Jeremy Grant trade, and then I think Jeremy Grant and Vucevic would be a pretty solid front court. I think those two players would fit well. Both can play offense. Jeremy Grant is a really good defensive player, which would take a lot of slack off of Vucevic, um, if that ends up happening. So let's see what could happen. They don't really have a whole lot of young assets. They could throw in like they would have to throw in their first next year for sure, unprotected, in like Nikhil Alexander and Udoka Azubuike. I don't think this goes through. No. Okay. Have they cut 11 mil? So you could take out Azubuike. You could throw in Bo Cruz and
No, not the cruise missile.
Rudy Gay. That I think that works. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
it
maybe
works.
the Pistons want a little more. Like
I feel like Pistons get enough out of that. I don't think they would want any. I don't think they could take
maybe
any
just
more.
a second. I think this is a pretty realistic trade. Nikhil Alexander Walker is a really good young guard. He, I do like him a lot. You get cruise missile. Rudy Gay wouldn't really play for you much. He'd probably get cut or maybe flipped in a trade right after. Or maybe this is a ends up being a 3-team trade where Rudy Gobert and Cruise Missile go somewhere else. So
Potentially, potentially.
all right, let's move on to our next player. The next player that has been rumored to get traded is DeAndre Ayton. Um, a team that's shown interest is the Atlanta Hawks. I guess they want to do a Clint Capella swap, so they throw in Clint Capella, uh, maybe like a Bogdanovich. Clint Capella is 18 mil a year for Clint Capella is honestly is amazing value for Clint.
Yeah, that's actually really good. That's pretty. That's a low ball for him.
I think yeah he could honestly earn a little bit more. Um, I don't think the Hawks are too interested in giving up a whole ton just to upgrade a little bit. Because I really don't think DeAndre Ayton's a huge upgrade from Clint. Clint is a very good center still.
Right, right.
So if you give up Clint, I don't think you have to give up 16. You give up Clint and Bogdanovich, two really solid players for you. And, maybe you give up your second round pick. And what else what more do you think the Suns would want?
I feel like this is really all they need. It adds on to their floor spacing, and they still get a good center out of it.
Yeah, Bogdanovich is really good. I mean, he would definitely be a 6 man of the year candidate for the Suns in my
Right.
opinion.
They don't lose much of anything besides like a little decrease of their starting lineup, but still, even then, it's they still have a really good roster all
Maybe
around.
maybe throw in like another second round pick, makes him a little more happy. I I could see this happening.
I think both teams are happy in this situation.
Yeah, as a Hawks fan, I wouldn't want to give up too much. Just to upgrade a little bit. So I wouldn't want to give up Clint Bogdanovich and 16. I would not want to do that. So I think 2 second round picks is a little better. Let's move on to the next team that was rumored, which was the San Antonio Spurs. By the way, he is a restricted free agent, so these would both have to end up being sign and trades. So you have the Suns and the Spurs right here, and you would have DeAndre Ayton and Jakob Pertl for sure. Jakob Pertl gets included. Obviously, a lot more. Maybe like pick 20 and pick 25, and then like a Josh Richardson. What do you feel about that?
For DeAndre, I feel like it works out really well. I feel like Spurs would gladly take this. I don't know too much if the Suns would want to take this, but I feel like at this point they have no choice.
Yeah, I mean, I could see DeAndre Ayton staying, but I don't know. I feel like it's like a 75-25% chance that he leaves. So let's move on to our next player. You have this actually our last player. So our sixth and final player is Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz. The number one team that he's been rumored to is the Bulls. Like we said earlier when doing the Jeremy Grant trade, you would do him for Vucevic and other assets, of course. You could throw in like I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure. What
Hmm.
other assets do you think could go in?
Well, if you're taking Vucevic for Rudy Gobert, you could throw in possibly maybe give up another guard to give up some help, but you also throw in a pick.
Yeah,
So
I was thinking like Alex Caruso actually,
yeah, that's what I was looking at. We
and
can give up
and if
Alex, and then we can give up like possibly a round one or round two.
I was thinking like a protected top eight protected 20.
I feel like at that point it's a little much for Rudy due to the fact I don't think yeah, I don't even think he helps out Bulls that much
I
crazy.
think he does. I think a big problem was their defense and switching a offensive center for a defensive center is kind of what they need. So I feel like this actually helps them out a lot. This works contractually. They maybe throw in top eight protected next year via Portland.
Does that
What
work?
do you think about this? Yeah, this goes through. This is contractually good, and if both teams accept this would work out.
I'd like it to be honest, in my opinion. I feel like it works out well for both teams.
Yeah, and I feel like this pick next year. I really don't know because it is via Portland, so it's Portland's pick. So if Portland ends up doing good things around Damian Lillard, this could be higher. Or if they kind of flop like they did this year, this could be this could be top eight, which would stay with the Bulls. So I don't know. I do like this. I think this works out. Alex Caruso is really good. Vucevic would fit the Jazz. Again, you could also do the Jeremy Grant trade that we said earlier, and then do both of these trades, and I think that would do really well for the Jazz. Um, but here we have one more trade. This is our last trade of the video. We have the Hornets. So what do you think could go along here? I'm not really sure.
With the Hornets here, they need to get rid of Montrezl Harrell. They're not since they can't even have him anymore. But I feel like if they're going for Rudy, I feel like we could give up Kelly Oubre here.
Well, didn't
Either Kelly Oubre or
isn't
Gordon Hayward.
Montrezl Harrell going to jail?
Yeah, exactly. I said you can't trade him.
Yeah. So what did he do? I'm not. I know he did
He
something
was
bad, but I
caught.
wasn't for
He
sure.
was caught with multiple pounds of weed in his car.
Is is that illegal in North Carolina?
Where he was driving, I don't think it was in North Carolina. Where he was driving, it was heavily illegal, and he was sentenced for 5 years.
5 years. He's gonna be in jail for 5 years.
That's what he's facing right now.
Wow. I didn't. I knew something happened. Wasn't sure what happened, but yeah. So
Yeah, it
Montrezl
was a lot
Harrell
of time.
is gone. So he's not going to be included. But Kelly Oubre, I think, for sure gets thrown in this deal. You know,
Maybe
if
even
Kelly Oubre gets traded, then that means the Hornets win the championship. Obviously,
just that's what
that's
always happens.
that's that's just what happens. Kelly Oubre gets traded, you win the championship. That's just how it goes.
I know he gets real mad over that.
Well, actually, you don't win a championship. You just go to the finals. Suns traded Kelly Oubre, they went to the finals. Warriors traded Kelly Oubre, they went to the finals and won. So you don't necessarily win. You just go. So that means the Hornets have a pretty good chance to win the finals if they trade Kelly Oubre. But all jokes aside, though, I think Kelly Oubre is a valuable asset to get back for Rudy Gobert. I think you could throw in somebody like a PJ Washington. I feel like he could get traded, and somebody like, or maybe like that's not really a lot to get back if you're the Jazz. So maybe you want they have 13 and 15. You could throw in 15, to be honest. So you need to cut 14 million more.
Oof.
All right, let's just pretend you cut Montrezl Harrell. So we're gonna throw him in there. And how much more? Okay, so that works. So in this scenario, just pretend you're cutting Montrezl Harrell because he's going to jail, so he's not going to be playing. So you cut him, frees up 12 mil, so that means the Jazz would get back Oubre, PJ, and pick 15. I think that's a pretty good haul.
Yeah, this trade works out really well in my opinion. I feel like this is a good trade.
Oubre would fit really well. Oubre is a great shooter, great offensive player. PJ Washington's a great power forward. Could be a small ball center if you really need to. He's an all-around good player on a good contract. Pick 15 is probably your best asset you get back. But I think all three assets here, Oubre, Washington, and pick 15, I think are all very good assets, and I think both teams say yes. So I think this works out tremendously for both sides.
Yeah.
And the Hornets still have pick 13 even after this trade. So this was the last trade of the video. That's all we got here. So I hope you enjoyed. This is probably going to get put out before the draft happens on Thursday. So I hope you enjoyed, and maybe we could do an NFL version of this sometime, because you can do that on this website. So yeah, that's all we got for today.